Leitner and Martinez will jump it up. Thomas Hill for Duke.
Right now, Kentucky has opened up in a 2-3 zone. You see the two guys up around the top of the key. Three guys along the back line, primarily to slow Duke's offensive game down, force them to beat them from outside.
Sean Woods with a steal. Right side, Mashburn. Too hard, but he comes down with a rebound. Pelfrey for three. And here's the Kentucky pressure. Now they drop back. Let's see if they set up in a zone again. Surprised?
No, I'm not. They showed pressure, recognizing that Duke would be ready for it, but I expect Kentucky to change defenses. Again, trying to keep Duke off balance.
Reach-in foul on Mashburn, his first, team first.
See, one of the things coaches in the tournament like to do is to continually change, because they know most of these coaches are great preparation guys. And if you can throw enough at them where they can't prepare for everything, you hope to keep the good teams off balance and maybe generate some rhythm of your own.
Hurley keeps it outside, takes the jumper top of the key. Antonio Lang off the glass. It's 3-2 Kentucky.
The other thing Kentucky wants to do, they want Bobby Hurley to shoot the ball. He's much more dangerous penetrating, dishing to his teammates.
Hurley has improved as a shooter in this his junior year. Sean Woods for two. The three-year starter at point guard for Kentucky. Pelfrey steals it, but he was on the line. But an example of the aggression of this Kentucky defense, the senior John Pelfrey.
Kentucky certainly, again, wants to play a full-court game. They don't want to get stuck in playing half-court and having to match up man-to-man, because in that case, they're going to be in big trouble. But they want to control that full-court game. They want to run when they want to run, not allow Duke to beat them in transition.
Brian Davis to Hurley. Underneath Leitner, he was being fronted by Mashburn, and he gets the basket. Christian Leitner now 8 points away from surpassing Elvin Hayes as the all-time leading scorer in NCAA tournament history. And as Christian said, that's because he's played a lot of games.
Yeah, but he didn't say he's played a lot of games, a lot of quality games as well. Pretty modest, humble guy.
Martinez can't get it to go. Hurley with the rebound. Duke quickly down the court. Thomas Hill hit as he lets it go. Pelfrey with the foul, and Hill will shoot the free throw.
See, what Duke is trying to do is push the ball up court as quickly as possible, not allowing the zone to get set. And the way they move the ball, they're going to find some openings, particularly inside. They've got a big guy who catches very well and does a lot of good things in a crowd.
Indiana is in. They will go to Minneapolis. Bob Knight and one of his proteges, Mike Krzyzewski, trying to join him. Here's that list for Christian Leitner. Elvin Hayes, those 358 points for the University of Houston in 13 games. Christian Leitner playing in his 21st. Duke up by 1, 6-5.
Defensively, Duke is really not going to do anything different. They make it tough on you passing the ball around the perimeter. They like to deny the wings.
Pelfrey, that's 2 3-pointers. Now, the other night in the win against UMass, Kentucky hit only 3 of 15 from three-point range, and they are known, of course, as a three-point shooting ball club.
Well, against UMass, they never really established a rhythm to shoot the threes. They were content getting the ball into Jamal Mashburn, who did a great job.
Jamel Martinez goes for the steal, gets it, and then draws the foul.
We talked about Duke breaking the pressure and then attacking. But as we see them get the ball in bounds, you know, Kentucky does a nice job of slowing the attack. Hurley doesn't get the ball. Now it forces Duke to use passing to beat the pressure rather than dribbling.
Back on the court, Pelfrey with a good fake. Mashburn for three. They have now equaled the number of three-point baskets they scored in that game against UMass.
See, in contrast to the UMass game, as I mentioned, this game they've established a three-point shooting rhythm. Dribble, penetration, and dish.
Leitner flashes across, and Pelfrey gets the foul. That's his second. And we'll see if Rick Pitino sits him down.
That's his second personal foul.
Yes, he will. So Darren Feldhaus, one of the four seniors who stuck with this program, comes into the lineup, an outstanding sixth man for Kentucky, averaging over 11 points per game. And John Pelfrey, who is the emotional leader of the Kentucky team.
I guess so.
Yes, I guess. Well, he's the vocal leader as well.
Well, what Kentucky loses with Pelfrey on the bench is obviously that emotion on the floor, but Pelfrey's a great ball handler, great passer for a guy his size. He recognizes situations on the floor.
Oh! Terrific pass. And the basket by Leitner, 11-8. Feldhaus calling for the ball. Martinez playing out, trying to draw Leitner away from the basket. Now Woods and Hurley. Sean Woods goes by Hurley, sees Leitner, pulls up and hits it short. And here is Duke in transition. Leitner. Here's Kentucky quickly at the other end.
Well, that transition basket was Kentucky's biggest concern. You know, they're not a strong rebounding team. They're going to have to be able to keep the ball alive on the offensive glass, or at least cover back against that break.
Martinez, long rebound, Leitner or Martinez. It's going to be Kentucky's ball. Time has been called.
There's a timeout on the floor. Number 33.
Here's Christian Leitner. Watch him hold his position until there's an opening and Bobby Hurley sees it. You see Mashburn step out. There's the seam. Excellent play by both players. Excellent example of patience.
11-10 Kentucky. Richie Farmer, jump shot, got it. Lead is back to 3, 13-10. Bobby Hurley having trouble with it. Taken away by Sean Woods. See if he goes all the way over Grant Hill. He does. Grant Hill in off the bench. The sixth man now. Late in the season, a foul called on Sean Woods.
Well, right away we see Bobby Hurley as a focal point of this Kentucky defense, particularly in the pressure. You know, he's going to see 2 and 3 guys all game because they realize how dangerous he is. If you don't pressure him, he's able to pick out people very easily.
4 turnovers to 1. A Kentucky team that averages 10 steals per game. And they have been a menacing defense here early on. There's the triple team on Leitner. No problem.
It's a triple team, but Leitner smartly turns baseline where there is no help, no defender, and he has an open shot. For him, it's open.
Martinez. Good screen by Martinez. The pass into Feldhaus, and they quickly come back and reset. Woods. Rick Pitino said yesterday one of the keys to the season for Kentucky, Sean Woods, the 3-year starter, who realized after some difficulty early in the year that he was not primarily a scorer and has become a floor leader and point guard. Thomas Hill short. Tip back. 2-on-2. And Farmer gets it back and finds Feldhaus. Mashburn. Martinez. 4 3-point baskets for Kentucky and an 8-point lead.
Kentucky's able to control the tempo. Defensively, they play that zone. It slows the Duke offense down, but offensively, they create fast break situations for themselves with the pressure. They want to run when they want to run.
Only once this year has Duke been behind in double digits. That was on the road at Clemson, and they came back and won it. Davis, 3. Grant Hill rebound. Got it.
Hey, I'll tell you something. There's not a whole lot you can do with a guy with the athletic skill of a Grant Hill except put your body on him and make him jump over you. That time Kentucky didn't do any of that.
Leitner gets his hands up. And is fouled. Richie Farmer draws the foul.
We talked about Kentucky's problem rebounding here. One of the reasons is in the zone, there are too many openings, as I mentioned, too many seams to which an offensive player can run and almost uncontestedly get possession of the ball.
Travis Ford, who spent a year at the University of Missouri because Kentucky didn't want him, and then with a coaching change transferred, sat out, and is now in the lineup, number 5. Leitner. Three-pointer, Thomas Hill. And an 8-point lead has been cut down to 3 and a chance to narrow it even more. Here's the transition game of Duke again. Blocking foul. Martinez.
Duke is just so quick in transition, no wasted motion at all, and they're constantly looking forward. You see Grant Hill with the finish. Kentucky, if they cannot get on the offensive board, keep the ball alive and slow that break down, they're going to have to shoot 100%.
Free throw is good, and we're tied. Ford and Mashburn, Martinez, Feldhouse, and Dale Brown has also come in. He's got the ball now, number 31. Air ball. Duke with a chance to reclaim the lead. Hits Leitner in the back of the head. Brown's got it. Goes by Hurley. Brian Davis has it. Travis Ford has it. 3-on-1. Thomas Hill defending. Dale Brown. The putback is good. Mashburn.
I tell you, Travis Ford, that was some steal on Bobby Hurley. It wasn't from behind, it was face up. Still, the defensive pressure is giving Duke some problems when they have to face it.
6 Duke turnovers now in the game, 22-20. Zone defense again by Kentucky. Brown and Ford out. Hurley with a shot. Got it. 3 points.
And I think Rick Pitino can live with Bobby Hurley shooting the ball. They've got to do a better job, though, on watching Leitner and some of the other guys who Hurley finds.
Duke trailed by 8 a couple of minutes ago. Now they lead by 1.
You know, what Kentucky has done, though, by trying to make this a transition game for them offensively, they've taken Jamal Mashburn out of the game.
Brown. That's going to be Kentucky's ball. 11:29 to go, first half.
It was a technical knockout when UMass coach John Calipari was called for being out of the coach's box. Well, the coaches tonight were concerned, where exactly is that coach's box? So they put extra tape down to ensure that the coaches know where the boundary is. Now, Mike Krzyzewski says it's all right with him. He doesn't wander much, but Rick Pitino has promised not to do his boogaloo down the sideline past that line. Vern, we expect you and Lenny to stay in the announcer's box.
As long as you're keeping guard, Les, we will. Shot clock is about off. It did expire. Tim Higgins is checking now. Wait a minute. The shot clock shows 0. Horn never went. And the conversation continues.
See the shot clock at the top, starting at 5. And no one was aware of what went on.
Well, the key is how much time was when the ball went out of bounds before the timeout was called, and that was a television timeout. And Pitino's not, Krzyzewski's happy, but Pitino's not.
45-second violation.
Well, the shot clock has expired. And Duke inbound. Hill gets his own basket, rebound.
Well, Jamal Mashburn is guarding Grant Hill. He was taken off on the fast break rather than blocking Hill off.
Here's Hurley. Oh, boy. Grant Hill from Bobby Hurley.
Kentucky with the open floor turnovers, giving Duke the opportunity to run.
And that ends a 15-2 Duke run. Antonio Lang is down. Injury time.
Ankle time.
Don't sit up.
Medical staff is out on the floor. Just to clarify that, prior to the television timeout, the ball had gone out of bounds, so there's no reset of the clock, and it was just a matter of how much time remaining. Here's the injury to Lang.
Looked as though he came down again on that ankle. We'll have another chance to take a look at it. He comes from the right of your screen, and it's his right ankle, and you can tell that he twisted it.
Antonio Lang has been one of the real standouts in the latter part of the season for the Duke Blue Devils. Here's Hurley to Hill.
And this is why Kentucky would rather see Bobby Hurley shoot it than distribute it, because he's so much more dangerous as a playmaker than he is as a scorer.
Hey, heard Digger Phelps say before the game began he thought Hurley might get double-digit assists tonight. He's got 5, but he's also got 4 turnovers in the game. The other night, he had 7 assists and 6 turnovers in the win over Seton Hall. Here's Grant Hill. Cherokee Parks, who's also in the ball game. And that'll be Kentucky's ball. Let's reset those who are on the court. We'll do that in just a second. Indiana advanced. Big win over UCLA, and they will take on the winner of this game in the semifinals in Minneapolis last week.
Just to further amplify on the point about Bobby Hurley and double-figure assists, if he does that, then Duke's going to win this game in a runaway. Kentucky's got to do a better job of sealing off the outlets and forcing Bobby to shoot the ball. That was their plan.
Richie Farmer with that last 3-pointer. Here's Hill, Cherokee Parks. Kentucky partisans asking for a traveling call. They don't get one. 29-27.
I think they wanted something. Rick Pitino was asking. It had to be some kind of call because of the contact.
Word from Leslie Visser that Antonio Lang, a slightly twisted ankle, but he should be able to get back. Pelfrey back in with his 2 fouls. Entry pass denied by Cherokee Parks. Here's Hurley. Davis. Sean Woods with the foul.
Well, on that last play that resulted in a turnover by Kentucky, they're trying to establish Jamal Mashburn. He's got 5 points, including a 3-pointer, but I think Kentucky's going to have to do a better job. They've established their 3-point shooting ability. They're going to have to start looking for more of those to open it up, to get it to this guy, because he's the guy that's brought them to this point. And if you don't establish him, you're not going to be able to play the type of game that's allowed you to get here into the East Regional Final.
Mike Krzyzewski said of Jamal Mashburn, I think he's one of the top 10 players in the country right now as a sophomore.
And you can tell by that last defensive play, 3 people on him, that he certainly has Duke's attention.
Ryan Davis for another. Now Thomas Hill will check back in for the senior Brian Davis. Leitner and Parks, Davis and Grant Hill. Hurley and Thomas Hill for Duke. Travis Ford, Pelfrey, Martinez, Farmer, and Mashburn for Kentucky.
I think it's even more important right now to establish Mashburn because he's got Leitner on him.
Thomas Hill or Leitner, who got it? Hill.
See, Duke is going big right now. They've got Cherokee Parks and Christian Laettner out on the floor, and that allows Laettner to have to guard Mashburn, and Mashburn, with his outside ability, his agility, is going to have to find a way to get isolated and put a lot of pressure on Laettner.
That is only the second team foul on Duke. Pelfrey. Laettner with a rebound off Farmer's missed three-pointer. .8:40 remaining first half. Largest lead of the game, 8, that by Kentucky. Right now, Duke is up by 4. Early shot no good. Parks with a tip no good. From the corner, Mashburn with the jumper. Pelfrey steals the Laettner pass. Mashburn.
That had to be something there.
And no call, but Mashburn does get 2.
You know, when there's contact on the shot, either the offensive player has gone beyond the vertical line that's his, or that's a foul.
Thomas Hill from Grant Hill. That's for 2.
Duke is doing a great job of moving the ball. You know, Kentucky has had to go from side to side to side, and Duke constantly looking for that seam.
Cherokee Parks gets called for the foul. That's his first. Third team foul. Time called, 7:30 to go first half. Statistical standoff between the two early in the first half of the game. 33-29. Farmer and Mashburn, Travis Ford, Pelfrey, Jamel Martinez. Pick and roll, Ford takes the shot, no. Bobby Hurley, 5 assists thus far in the ballgame. Of course, played against his brother Danny in the game against Seton Hall, said this one would be a lot easier. Laettner now has 10 points. He has become the all-time leading scorer in NCAA basketball tournament history. And the lead is 6.
Duke doing a nice job of denying, particularly Mashburn, up until that point. Lang was all over him.
Reach-in foul. Spectrum in Philadelphia filled the capacity, which is just short of 18,000 on hand for this meeting in the East Regional Final. The top 2 seeds advanced, the Duke Blue Devils and the Kentucky Wildcats, 35-29. Duke jumped out to, rather fell behind 20-12. But they have been on a roll since then, and they're now up by 6.
Well, it's been a game where both teams were able to show what their strengths are. Kentucky first with their three-point shooting and their pressure, and Duke comes back with their fast break as well as good outside shooting.
Good hustle for the ball by Mashburn, and he is fouled by Antonio Lang, who's back in the lineup.
Well, I tell you, this matchup, Lang against Mashburn, is no contest because of the strength and quickness inside of Mashburn. Duke is going to be exploited unless they put someone else who's got some type of better quickness or the same type of strength as Mashburn to deal with him inside.
Second foul on Lang. 15th foul on Duke. Woods, nope. Chases down his own loose ball, puts it up and in. Sean Woods with 10 points to lead all Kentucky scorers now. Good defensive job by Kentucky. Hurley penetrates. Foul is on Martinez, his second. Well, we're going to have an all-great Midwest final in the Midwest tomorrow. Cincinnati and Memphis State, and an all-Big Ten final in the Southeast. Ohio State and Michigan. Boy, two great games last night.
They certainly were. A great battle between Michigan and Oklahoma State. And I'll tell you one thing, those Michigan young players, again, they play without the pressure. They come out there and expect you to play basketball. And with them, all they really look at is the fact that, hey, if we don't win it this year, we've got 3 more years to win it. And that's a great feeling when you go into a tournament like this.
Bobby Hurley misses the first. Darren Feldhaus back into the lineup for Kentucky, number 12, and he'll inbound the ball. 5-point lead, 36-31, 5:20 to go. First half. Winner goes into the Final Four, where they take on Indiana next week in Minneapolis. Woods, no. Nice pass. Oh. And the cut from Grant Hill, 2 points.
And against the zone, poor communication from the top guys to the bottom guys. Too easy to get it into the teeth of that zone.
Grant Hill got a slow start off the bench in that game against Seton Hall. He's got 11 in the first half already. Well, there's the answer at the other end. Pelfrey for 2, and he'll shoot a third. Bobby Hurley with the foul.
We're going to take a look against the zone. You see from the right side of your screen, here comes Grant Hill, and nobody was aware of that cut. What Duke has done is spread that zone. Kentucky, by the same token, they've been using a lot of picks up at the top, the free cutters. And once again, lack of communication by the guy who's guarding the picker.
Antonio Lang back in for Duke. And John Pelfrey at the line. These two teams have met 15 previous times. Kentucky's won 10, but Duke has won the last 3 of them. Most recent was in 1988 when Pelfrey and Farmer, and there's a steal.
That should have been backcourt, because I think Grant Hill was on, his foot was in the backcourt before he let it go.
Foul before the basket at the other end.
And that's what Rick Pitino was asking about. Grant Hill attempted to save that ball, and I thought his foot had hit the ground. Now we'll see again. Before he let it go, you see him over the front court. Now he jumps to make the pass, and he just gets it away. That was pretty darn close. And Christian Laettner, the same thing. And I think Rick Pitino was questioning whether or not there was backcourt, and it doesn't go Kentucky's way, and it comes into a foul.
And John Pelfrey picks up his third, so he'll rest now with 4:27 to go. Laettner chases down the loose ball, hit it last, Kentucky ball.
You know, it's at different points during this game where Duke seems to have the pressure solved, and then suddenly they have a lot of trouble in getting it up. And that's going to tell on them in the second half if this game stays close. The fatigue factor that Kentucky wants when they utilize the press.
Coming up at the half, Billy Packer and Al McGuire in a two-way conversation. Martinez. 38-36. Hill, Davis, pretty. Basket counts. Foul is called on Mashburn. And the Cameron crazies erupt in the Spectrum.
Now, if you're a Duke fan, this is more like it. Kentucky had been successful in pressuring Duke, getting back defensively, and not allowing breaks like this. But we talked about getting the ball to a decision maker and then kicking it out for an advantage, and that's what Duke did. That's what you call attacking the pressure.
Rick Pitino is not getting the answers he wanted.
Well, Rick Pitino again was asking where was the foul by Mashburn. He thought Mashburn had just run by Davis rather than made any contact. Davis
with 5 points now, 41-36. Under 4 minutes to go before halftime. Dale Brown is in the lineup, number 31, Feldhouse. Woods and Mashburn, along with Martinez. 15 on the shot clock. Feldhouse. Lang to Hurley. Duke in transition. Kentucky hurries back. But they can't stop Davis in the corner. The tip is good. Lang for 2. And the lead is 7. Oh, brother, what a pass. Sean Woods rifled the ball to Mashburn.
See, here's a situation where Kentucky had gotten back forced to Duke now, rather than get a quick break, was set up in their offense.
Quick hands of Sean Woods, but Grant Hill gets it back. Almost thrown away. Lang saved it. 10 on the shot clock. Traveling. 9 turnovers for the Blue Devils, but they still lead by 5. 2:13 to go before halftime. Christian Leitner with 10 points thus far in the first half. Look at the field goal percentage. Duke, the top team shooting percentage in the country, just under 54%.
There are a sizable number of layups in that 71% for Duke. They've been able to take those open floor turnovers and convert.
Dale Brown. And Kentucky is now 6 of 11 from three-point range. And they cut the margin to 2. Earlier today, Indiana ousted UCLA. Grant Hill. Duke ball. Coming up tomorrow, Memphis State against Cincinnati. And then the second game, Michigan, Ohio State. Rematches in both cases.
And how about that for a first year in a conference, the Great Midwest? They've got 2 teams battling to get one into the Final Four.
Boy, Cincinnati basketball has really been revived under Bob Huggins. Tim Higgins makes the call from out in the corner, and he got Sean Woods or Dale Brown. It's Dale Brown, his first foul. That is the 11th team foul. And again, Duke 74% from the free throw line. They are an outstanding free throw shooting team. There's that final. Bob Knight's team in to the Final Four. Mike Krzyzewski, who played under Bob Knight, trying to join his mentor back in Minneapolis. Kentucky, by the way, I heard Billy Packer say last night that Kentucky had won the last NCAA championship played in Minneapolis. Sent me diving for the reference books. 51. They beat Kansas State by 10. Game was in the 60s. 1:21 to go before halftime. Billy and Al McGuire coming up at halftime. 45-41. Underneath. Grant Hill gets called for this foul.
Well, Grant Hill really didn't have anything else to do but grab on that. Mashburn had beaten him cleanly. And Kentucky doing a nice job now of setting up the Duke defenders, the aggressive Duke defenders, by setting back picks, going back door. That's how you use a defensive team's aggression against them.
Aminu Timberlake comes in now for Kentucky, number 25. Martinez will get a rest. And Travis Ford, number 5, comes in for Sean Woods. And in the meantime, that is the 7th team foul against Duke. So Mashburn shoots 1 and 1. Look at the disparity in free throws already in the ballgame. Hill Lost it. Brown is fouled by Grant Hill. His second foul. 8th team foul.
Well, obviously the import of this game would lead people to believe that that's why these two teams are hustling. But if you watch them all season, I don't care if it's the first game or the game to see who goes to the Final Four, you're going to see a Duke team and a Kentucky team. Those players get on the floor regardless. That's a good habit to be in.
Brown gets the first. Dale Brown at the line. He was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Hey, I worked hard on this stuff. And I would imagine Dale Brown of LSU, who was a guest on the road to Final Four, is back in our New York studios watching.
You wonder if he tried to recruit Dale Brown in Kentucky?
Dale Brown came out of Gulf Coast Junior College down in Mississippi last year. 45-44, lead is 1, under a minute. This has been a good first half.
Man, you talk about not seeing the hoop on that jump shot, but having perfect range. Thomas Hill, and that would be considered a 4th shot for Duke.
About a 3-second difference shot clock and game clock. Down, no. Hurley hit from behind, foul called on Andre Riddick, number 10.
Last time down for Kentucky. A nice job of beating the defender by Dale Brown. Listen. I mean, there was a lot of umphing and a good thought by Brown, but you heard that clang in the iron. That's not supposed to happen on a dunk.
Marty Clark comes in now, number 3 for Duke. Sophomore from Western Springs, Illinois. And junior Brady, number 23, has checked in for Kentucky. Bobby Hurley at the free throw line.
One gentleman, ready, serve, play, guys. One.
Got them both. And the 1-point lead is up to 6 with 24 seconds to go. Leitner, first foul. And Aminu Timberlake will go to the free throw line.
Well, unfortunately, the good news for Kentucky is that there was a foul. The
Yes.
bad news
Yes.
is that Timberlake has only been to the line 11 times during the regular season.
And how many did he hit?
3 for 11, 27%. So if you're wondering why Leitner would foul a guy out there, you certainly don't want to give him easy opportunities, but that might not be a bad foul. They get another crack at it on a low percentage free throw shooter.
Now, you want to go through all that again?
Not after he made it.
Indiana advanced with a big win over UCLA. They take on either Duke or Kentucky next Saturday in Minneapolis. 1 of 2. Leitner with the rebound. 10 seconds to go. Thomas Hill, offensive foul. And 3.8 seconds to go, Len.
And there goes my theory about getting the last crack at the basket. You know, Duke was going to try to trade, you know, maybe 3 for 2, and Timberlake missed the free throw, but they came right back.
The other night, Jim McCoy of UMass hit one from 70 feet with 3.8 seconds left. Here's Brady. Marty Clark rejects Travis Ford's shot as the horn sounds. And the #1 seed leads the #2 seed 5-5 at the half. Duke on top, 50-45. Well, Rick Pitino said, if our press does not work, we won't win.
Well, certainly they've had good success. Watch Grant Hill, number 33, come straight down the middle of the floor. Here he is right here. Oh, got him on that one, but he's got the ball. And again, an advantage situation. Duke hasn't had enough of those. They've had some trouble against the pressure.
It'll be Mashburn. Feldhaus will start. Woods, Martinez, and Farmer. Pelfrey stays on the bench with 3 fouls for Kentucky. Here's Richie Farmer trying to find a teammate underneath, and instead it's picked off, and Davis at the other end is fouled and goes down hard. Martinez with him. Duke torrid at the half, 72% in the first half. Kentucky, not bad, 50% for the first half of play. And turnovers, 11 for Kentucky, leading to 15 points, 5 leading to 5.
And that just leads Kentucky to believe that the pressure will bother Duke, and that's why they've stayed with it despite some of the advantage breaks that they've got.
Mashburn and Leitner both in double figures, and Brian Davis at the line. Davis saying yesterday, of course, he's a senior co-captain and a roommate of Christian Leitner. They asked him about his role as a defensive specialist. He said, I think the media has made me into a defensive specialist. I prefer to think of myself as a player who can play defense.
Well, certainly Brian Davis is an excellent defensive player, but he's gotten that label because up until this year, he really never developed an offensive game, and the offensive side of his game has really shown in this last couple of months. He's really been a threat.
6-point edge. Duke up. Farmer, scoop shot, short, foul by Davis. Second foul on Davis. Richie Farmer will go to the line where he's shooting 84%. Richie Farmer along with Pelfrey, Feldhaus, and to a degree Sean Woods, kind of symbolic of the resurgence of this Kentucky program. Grew up listening to Kaywood Ledford on the radio in Kentucky. All of his life wanted to play there. He said yesterday with a bit of a southern accent, I've been a big blue fan from birth.
With emphasis. But again, a question of loyalty. And you like to see that in college basketball, in a game that's been maligned for a lot of the actions by players and alumni. You know, these guys stuck with their team. There's no question about it, and it's paid dividends.
Thomas Hill back to Hurley. 51-46, 5-point lead. Kentucky in that 2-3 zone. Got a reach-in foul. Cheapy. Not the most flagrant violation you will ever see.
No, it didn't really give an advantage to the defensive player. But they're being called, and calls like that have been consistent.
Farmer picks up the foul. It's Woods instead, and that's his third. Sean Woods got it, not Farmer. So 3 fouls for Sean Woods. It would have been Farmer's second. Hurley, yes. Hurley's got 9, and the lead is 8. Thomas Hill fouls Farmer. That's 3 fouls on Thomas Hill. He's the first Duke player to go to 3.
You know, Kentucky's plan in making Bobby Hurley shoot the ball might work, provided they get him off of those spots that he loves so much. And from a 3-point shot, the spot that's straight on to the basket, directly in front of the basket, that's one of the easier 3-point shots. It's a lot more difficult when you have to shoot it from an angle. And you got to make Bobby Hurley move off of those spots. He's a good offensive player, but if you leave him some daylight at that spot, he's going to kill you.
Richie Farmer gets the first of two. Grant Hill into the lineup replacing Thomas Hill. And tomorrow, Cincinnati, Memphis State, the 4 and 6 seeds. That tip at 1:42 Eastern, and then Ohio State, Michigan tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Indiana already in the Final Four. And Duke and Kentucky trying to join them. Winner of this game gets Indiana next Saturday in Minneapolis. Dale Brown back in the lineup for Kentucky now. Here's the pressure.
Once again, a nice job by Kentucky to get back, not allow the advantage break situation, and to set their zone all in one movement.
Martinez guarding Leitner. And they call the foul on Martinez. That's his fourth. He has had foul problems throughout the year. And now they've got to pull Martinez with 4 and put in Pelfrey, who's playing with 3.
Well, it's almost like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yesterday, Rick Pitino was asked about the matchup between Martinez and Christian Leitner and what he thought Martinez would do. And he said one thing he certainly would do would be fouling. And he said that in jest. But it's come to pass.
And not funny today. 54-48. Alley-oop. Grant Hill was out of bounds when he made contact with the ball.
And I'll tell you, that's a miscommunication throughout the year. Hill and Hurley connect on that mentally and physically. Mike Krzyzewski jumped off the bench and put his hands down and said, "Take it easy, fellas. We don't need that right now."
Nice pass. Feldhaus. Mashburn. Duke ball. Grant Hill. And a squandered opportunity for Kentucky. Mashburn comes down with the loose ball. Dale Brown. Nope. Kentucky in the freezer.
The reason is they're living by the jump shot and they're going down by the jump shot. They have to get Mashburn more involved, particularly inside.
And not that way. He picks up the foul. His third. 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 Third.
Living by the
Third.
shot and they're down by the jump living by the shot and they're down by the inside.
Match up the foul.
Living by the shot and they're down by the Mashburn ball inside. Shot and they're down by the Mashburn ball inside.
He's third. He's third. He's third. He's third. He's third.
Down by the Mashburn ball to one side.
And boy, Burn comes up the foul. Burn comes. 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 Burn comes.
Living by shot down by the Mashburn. One side. Living by shot Nick down by the he jumped Mashburn ball to inside. He jumped
and boy, up the foul.
He jumped.
He third.
Living by shot Nick down by the
funny, 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 funny. For Duke, Lang and Thomas Hill, 3 each.
And that foul trouble is a result of the pressure Kentucky tries to apply and Duke's ability to attack, constantly attack offensively, pressuring the defensive player into making a move.
Brown, baseline drive comes up short. Grant Hill gets rid of it.
There's still contact there, and I just got to believe that you got to make some kind of call on the shooter. Somebody's getting an advantage on that type of contact.
Duke has not led by double-digit numbers. They have a chance to do so right now. 59-51 with 14:22 to go. Thomas Hill. Brian Davis stripped to the ball. And somehow Brian Davis comes up with it. The tip still won't go. Basket interference. Kentucky ball.
Talk about the battle of the boards inside. It's an awful lot of contact. And then Grant Hill plays volleyball, but by himself.
Brian Davis has lost a contact. There was a lot of contact, and he lost one.
Where is he? See it?
Yeah, he said, where is it? Can you see it? I can't.
Exactly.
Oh, here it is.
You know, I haven't seen this happen in these days of the soft lens. You haven't seen this happen in a long, long time.
I think he found it. I'm not sure. Did he?
I don't think he did. I think they're going for the backup pair.
Yes, they are.
So that crunch that you hear next.
Christian Laker, number 32, returns to the Duke University lineup.
Brian Davis will go for the auxiliary contact. He's out now. Cherokee Park's in. It's Parks and Leitner, Thomas Hill, Grant Hill, and Bobby Hurley for Duke. Darren Feldhouse, number 12. Dale Brown, Sean Woods. Whistle, foul on Cherokee Parks down underneath, away from the ball. Kentucky, not a good rebounding team. And look what's happened so far in the ballgame.
Well, the offensive boards where Duke has 9, that's what Kentucky can control a lot better. They haven't done a great job of blocking out, and when you're not a good rebounding team, you have to focus on the fundamentals.
59-51. Pace of this second half much less frantic than we saw in the first half. They look for Mashburn and they throw it right to Leitner. Woods with the turnover. Rebound in the hands of Dale Brown. Brian Davis continues to get a new set of contacts put in. Oh, what a shot. Sean Woods. And he's got 12 points. He is playing quite well.
But Kentucky needs a score, obviously, so they can apply their pressure.
Bobby Hurley comes across the timeline. Said yesterday he enjoys playing teams that press because it keeps him more involved in the ball game. Hill, Leitner. Why not? 3. 62-53. Off the glass at the other end. Sean Woods again with 14 points.
But it's going to be tough if you have to trade baskets with Duke. You have to be able to stop them, turn them over. Kentucky in the first few minutes of this ball game had Duke off balance, but Duke has regained their composure and their balance.
Yes, they have. Hurley's got 9 assists. Cherokee Parks with a basket. Woods, seeing Hurley flash in, tried to dish it off. It goes out of bounds, but Kentucky will inbound. Time has been called.
All the great teams, plus the Big Five, have played there over the past 40 years. Vern, he'd still like to make a little history here today.
Well, right now he's got to solve the problem, Leslie, because Jamil Martinez has just fouled out. And it was a cheapie.
Well, they call a blocking foul on Martinez moving on the pick. And you speak of history, Kentucky's going to have to find a way to stop Duke. They have to adjust their defense to make some stops, otherwise they'll be history.
And Duke is trying to make history itself, become the first team to repeat as NCAA national champion since '73, when the UCLA bunch under John Wooden accomplished that. So Martinez is out. Travis Ford and Dale Brown are the guards. Aminu Timberlake is in at center now, number 25. He's a freshman from Chicago. Feldhaus and Mashburn for Kentucky. Belfry stays on the bench with 4 fouls. Grant Hill back in the lineup for Duke with Hurley, Leitner, Antonio Lang, and Brian Davis. Hurley. And we have our first double-digit lead of the ball game. It's up to 12.
And Hurley was on that spot again, right in front of the basket in three-point land.
Sean Woods and Feldhaus with Mashburn, Timberlake, and Dale Brown for Kentucky. There's Mashburn. Hurley doing the job defensively, but they find Dale Brown underneath. Woods did.
They just couldn't sustain the defense long enough. Duke did. They were about to get a 5-second call.
Feldhaus with the steal. Mashburn for 3. Yes! Huge basket. Duke timeout.
Try to receive, turn, and go in an effort to really attack the Kentucky pressure. But he doesn't meet the ball.
And they've got another turnover for 3. It's a 4-point game. An 8-0 run by Kentucky. 2 threes by Jamal Mashburn.
Say that timeout was supposed to remind the Duke players to play fundamentally sound.
Bobby Hurley spots up for a 3. That's his 4th 3 of the ball game. Mashburn, the double team. He beats it.
That's why you want to get this guy involved.
Mashburn with 21, including the last 8 Kentucky points. Duke is almost matching him field goal for field goal from three-point country, though.
And Bobby Hurley's been the one. If Rick Pitino's plan is to make Hurley shoot, he's got to make him shoot off balance, make him move off those spots.
9:15 to go. What's Kentucky doing defensively? They've got Sean Woods, man on Hurley.
Well, they're denying Hurley the ball, making somebody else handle it.
Foul on Timberlake.
And they fouled him with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. That defense is working because Duke is a little bit out of sync without Hurley handling the ball.
Kentucky jumped out 20-12, and then Duke went on a 15-2 run midway through the first half. They were up by 5 at the half, up by as many as 12 just a couple of minutes ago, and Grant Hill misses the free throw. Then Mashburn hit a couple of threes, and now Kentucky has a chance to cut into that lead even more. Woods. Duke in transition. Hurley with the dish, basket, yes, and the foul.
Hey, this is how Duke takes your heart. You know, on the turnover, the lightning quick, fast break, and then the emphasis. You know, you build momentum, and right away they take it away from you with a play like that.
Transition defense, one of the keys in the ball game for Kentucky. Bobby Hurley now has 10 assists. Thomas Hill completes the three-point play, and the lead is back to 8. Another one. Dale Brown. Leitner calls for it. There's a double on Leitner. And Leitner kicked him. And they got him. There's a technical on Christian Leitner. Stepped right in his chest.
Now, that was a pretty darn nasty situation. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not.
Yeah, he did. Pretty obvious.
That is his second personal foul, team tonight. There was a technical foul ball on recruits number 32, Christian Leitner.
Leitner with a technical. First, he'll shoot 2 free throws.
Is a contact technical. That is the team's 6th.
Foul was called on Timberlake, so Leitner will shoot 2. These are the personal fouls. And he gets 2 for 2. Now will come Kentucky with the technical. Let's go back and look at it again. Watch Timberlake and Leitner.
All right, you see the play right there. Yeah, that was
pretty obvious.
That was obvious. I wasn't sure. I saw him back up and didn't see him step, but from that replay, that was intentional.
Richie Farmer misses the free throw. Gets 1 of 2. Now Feldhouse will inbound for Kentucky.
But you got to kind of wonder what was going through the guy's mind. He had just gotten fouled. Opportunity to go to the line. His team is up.
Well, it certainly didn't enhance the image for Christian Leitner to pull a play like that, a stunt like that. Steele, Thomas Hill, Hurley, got it. They will break your heart. My, are they a resilient team.
See, the problem Rick Pitino has is that he can't put John Pelfrey back in the ball game.
Richie Farmer gets called on this one, and that sends Pitino into a slight orbit.
The point I was going to make is Pelfrey has to get back in the ball game to give Kentucky another ball handle, and he's just entered right now. You know, Rick Pitino has got some people out there who aren't accustomed to handling the ball against this type of pressure. He's been put in a tough situation by the foul situation. And that's what he's so ticked off about. He doesn't believe some of the calls he's been seeing.
Second foul on Farmer, 10th team foul, so Duke for the duration now shoots 2. And there's 7:40 remaining. I think this team doesn't shoot free throws. Coming into this ball game, 945 team free-throw attempts. That's more than 400 more than the opposition. They do get to the line, and the lead is back to 10.
Combination of not only constantly attacking and being the aggressor, but also being number 1.
Yes. Dale Brown. Oh, yes! My gracious, what a nice play.
And you know what that does? Not only does that put points on the board, but emotionally it keeps Kentucky up. Just when you think that they're going to give up, they're going to lay on the canvas and go out for the count, they come back at you. And plays like this are certainly an emotional lift.
Foul was called on Bobby Hurley. Free throw is good for Brown. Lead is 7. Time is 7:25 remaining. Winner gets Indiana next Saturday in Minneapolis. Thomas Hill. Follow is good from Leitner. He's got 21. Turnaround jumper over Grant Hill. Mashburn. 5-second call. Kentucky ball.
Well, one of the problems Duke is having, or at least had on that inbounds pass, is that Leitner was too close to the backboard. He was under the backboard, so in the event a guy for his team had broken open long, he wouldn't have been able to hit him because he would have thrown it against the backboard.
Grant Hill defending Mashburn. Leitner keeping his eye on him. Pelfrey is fouled by Brian Davis. Third foul on Davis, 7th team foul, so 1-1 now for the Kentucky Wildcats.
John Pelfrey, number 34, will be the free throw shooter for the Wildcats of Kentucky.
John Pelfrey gets the first. Coming up tomorrow, Memphis State, Cincinnati, our first regional final. That's in the Midwest from Kansas City. And then Michigan, Ohio State from Lexington. Second game of 4 o'clock tip. Winners will join Indiana and one of these two teams in the Final Four in Minneapolis next week.
Grant Hill, you see him bringing the ball up now, giving Bobby Hurley a rest. Hill has had some experience at the point when Hurley was injured late this year during the regular season, and he did a pretty nice job. It slows the Duke attack, though.
There's Hurley flashing and dishing. Offensive call. Charging Hurley as Kentucky goes to the man-to-man defense, and they get the turnover.
Well, ultimately, Hurley is going to have to be the finish guy off the pass. That time he drives into trouble. But Duke has slowed down significantly with Hurley not handling it.
Bobby Hurley, 8 turnovers now to go with his 10 assists. 81-76. Nice backdoor cut. Dale Brown. The lead is down to 3. Now we talked about the resiliency of this #1 Duke team. How about Mashburn of Kentucky? Feldhouse. Foul on Brown.
Rick Pitino applauding not only the defensive play, but also Feldhouse's shot. That wasn't a bad shot. That was one of those risks that you take to try to put the hammer down, tie this thing up, get the crowd jumping and emotional. It didn't go, but I think Rick Pitino would like to see his team take those kinds of risks at this point.
Brian Davis, number 23, will be
Darren Feldhouse saying, my fault.
He has 2 shots.
At the line, Brian Davis shoots 2. That's only his second miss today. As a team, Duke is 18 of 23 from the free throw line. Davis with another. Kentucky ball. Woods. Brown with a foul. That's his 4th.
You know, you got to be careful. You get the momentum going. You don't want to give a team like Duke an easy opportunity. You have to make them work. And Kentucky's been doing well playing position defense without reaching too much. If you reach, you're going to get the foul call, and you're going to give Duke an opportunity to get 2, to pretty much steal 2 on the line.
Thomas Hill shoots 2 for Duke. We're tied at 81. Indiana's in the Final Four. They get the winner of this one, and what a game this has been. Antonio Lang will check back in for the Blue Devils now, replacing Thomas Hill. Mike Krzyzewski has called the timeout. Duke led by 12 with 11:14 remaining in the game, 67-55. 3-point range has brought Kentucky back in. They are 10 of 16 from 3-point country in the ball game. Entry pass, Mashburn. Got it.
Good setup right there, spreading the floor, letting Mashburn work the post by himself on a one-on-one with Leitner.
Sean Woods, he's got 4 fouls. So Martinez is on the bench with 5. Woods has 4, Pelfrey has 4, and Dale Brown has 4. And every time there's another foul, 2 more free throws for the Duke Blue Devils. This time it'll be Bobby Hurley at the line.
You know, Kentucky's been quick to the ball in the last couple of minutes, creating turnovers. But lately, they've been getting called for the reaches. And as I said before, you're bailing a team like Duke out. You're not making them work against the press by reaching that first time on the first pass.
Duke by 2. These two teams played in the national championship game in 1978 when Jack Givens had 41 points. That was a good one. This regional final is a dandy as well.
You know, Duke's gone to a zone right now, trying to change up just a little bit. And now they've gone right out of it.
Leitner.
And coming out of it in mid-defense in the half court. And that's giving Kentucky some trouble.
We say none because no one has 4 fouls for Duke on the right side. Feldhaus misses the first. Well, a terrific game here, and we anticipate 2 more tomorrow. Memphis State and Cincinnati, 1:42 tip, and then Michigan, Ohio State, a 4 o'clock tip. Feldhaus gets 1 of 2, and it's a 1-point Duke lead, 4:29 remaining. Christian Laettner on the bench. It's Thomas Hill, Hurley, Grant Hill, Antonio Lang, and Brian Davis for Duke. Pelfrey, Woods, Brown, Mashburn, and Feldhaus for Kentucky. Woods with the contact, and it'll be Duke ball.
Well, what Duke is attempting to do, they're trying to run a play. They had a mismatch with Dale Brown on Antonio Lang, but they were trying to run something that was going to require some continuity if you see Christian Laettner back in the ballgame. Trying to take some time off the clock, make Kentucky sustain their defense, wear them out just a little bit.
Just a thought to file away in the final 4 minutes now. Mike Krzyzewski and the Blue Devils have used 2 of their timeouts. They have only 1 remaining. Kentucky has 2 left, should that become significant. Thomas Hill, beautiful. Terrific pass, Pelfrey to Feldhaus. Senior to senior, 2 of the kids who stuck it out for the Kentucky Wildcats. Grant Hill. Mashburn. And a chance for Kentucky to go on top. Offensive goaltending.
That goes to show you that there is no time for celebration. Kentucky takes the lead, and Duke is right back at you. Good call by the officials. The ball had hit the board and still had a chance to go in.
89 all. Pelfrey. Brown with the rebound. Woods. Foul on Brian Davis.
Almost a great defensive play by Christian Laettner, extending himself to the fullest to thwart the back door.
That's his 4th personal foul.
You take a look at that, Laettner with the steal. And still Sean Woods quick enough to recover.
Sean Woods, from the University of Kentucky.
4 fouls on Brian Davis. Sean Woods, the 3-year starter, at the line. That ties it. That puts them up by 1. 2, beg your pardon. It broke the tie and sent them up by 2. 91-89. Laettner. He'll shoot a couple. First foul on Feldhaus.
That's his first personal foul. Christian Laettner, number 32.
Here's where the mind game comes in. Duke really hasn't been pushed throughout this tournament, and now they're 1 step away from the Final 4. And this is the toughest game they've had. Are they going to wilt, or is it the mental aspect of the game, something they've commanded throughout this season? Is it going to leave them?
Ward's threw it away.
By contrast, Kentucky, an overachieving team, you know, they're up against it as well. They have to have precise execution down the stretch, and that's mental pressure.
Here comes Hurley scooting through the Kentucky defense. Puts it back out to Hill, and they'll reset. 90 seconds remaining.
See Pelfrey there screaming, let's go, let's go.
Leitner with Mashburn defending. 18 on the shot clock. Thomas Hill. Yes! Pelfrey to Feldhaus. The final 15. Bobby Hurley. Timeout was called, I believe. Time was called with time remaining. Now how much? Kentucky did call timeout. But they've yet to indicate how much time is going to be put back on the clock.
Well, certainly the signal for timeout was made by the Kentucky player. You could see the official acknowledge it. Whether or not he blew his whistle above this din remains to be seen, and there was certainly time left on the clock. My estimation, it looked about 2 seconds.
Now they're conferring with the alternate official, Bob Bedketter. They will put 0.8 of a second back on the clock.
Certainly saw the signal go up with about with a little more than 0.8. Whether or not he did that. See, Pelfrey, before they got possession, Pelfrey had already put his hand up. But the acknowledgement came at about 0.8.
And as we play the final 0.8 of a second, the significant sound is that of the horn. The game is over when the horn sounds. 93 all. Want to diagram the play for us?
No, but you know, maybe Bobby Cremins from Georgia Tech, 0.8 of a second is a magic number for them.
Once again, here's Hurley's final shot. The rebound by Mashburn.
See, you see Pelfrey, Mashburn has possession. Pelfrey's signal was about 2 seconds left.
And Tom Clark, one of the officials, immediately signaled timeout. As soon as Pelfrey indicated he wanted the time, Tom Clark said, yes, you got it.
But it was just that acknowledgement which translated into action by the official that took a little bit of time off.
Mashburn will inbound. He's got Brown, Feldhaus, Pelfrey, and Woods on the floor with him. Defensively for Duke, Leitner will guard the inbounds pass. Thomas Hill, Hurley, Grant Hill, and Brian Davis.
I think Kentucky's got to get the ball at least a half court to give themselves a chance, and also to prevent Duke from making a miraculous steal and layup. Very interesting.
Certainly is. Tom Clark indicates that it was touched by Duke and should be Kentucky's ball. He's the official in the center of your screen right now. That's Charles Range.
And if in fact it was touched by Duke, Mike Krzyzewski was signaling that there should be no time on the clock.
Still at the end of regulation time. The Duke University versus 93 University of Kentucky Wildcats.
Not that a couple of tenths of a second would allow anybody to do anything. Take a look at the inbounds here. Now Pelfrey certainly acted as though you really couldn't tell from that angle whether Davis touched it or missed it, but Pelfrey believed that it was touched.
Well, and of course the clock starts when the ball is touched. It was ruled that it was touched. Thus the game is over, and we go to overtime. Leitner, Hurley, Grant Hill, Thomas Hill, and Brian Davis. Kentucky ball. And it'll be Pelfrey and Feldhaus, Sean Woods, the three seniors, along with Dale Brown and Jamal Mashburn.
And in regulation, I alluded to the mental aspect of this game, particularly for Duke. Mike Krzyzewski likes to make this a game, you know, fun for his team, making it as though they were playing a tournament in each of the rounds.
Mashburn shot into the hands of Thomas Hill.
But when you're so close, no matter what the coach does to try to alleviate the pressure, you know, you've got to feel it, and Duke probably more so than Kentucky feels it. How they handle it remains to be seen.
Grant Hill has to alter the shot. It won't fall. And Dale Brown comes down with the ball for the Wildcats of Kentucky. Pelfrey. Three-point Kentucky lead. Offensive foul.
I talked about the mental pressure on defense. Grant Hill stayed too long against Jamal Mashburn and didn't get out in time on Pelfrey. Here, Brian Davis tries to do it by himself.
That is 5 fouls on the senior co-captain. He calls his teammates together at center court for a final word before he heads to the bench.
2 uncharacteristic mental errors.
Antonio Lang takes his place. Taken away by Hurley, but then controlled again by Kentucky. 10 on the shot clock. Woods, quick hands of Thomas Hill. Leitner back to Hurley.
And again, normally Normally Duke would have attacked that basket and taken it, but they're a little tentative right now.
Hurley. Grant Hill, Hurley again. We're tied.
That's the kind of play that Duke excels in.
Pelfrey, base Hill in, gets another one. He has played with a total lack of fear for the 5th foul. He's had 4 for most of the game.
And you play like that when you feel as though you have nothing to lose. You got no pressure.
2 minutes to go in the first overtime. Leitner guarded by Feldhaus. Leitner's playing with 4. Leitner will shoot. Jamal Mashburn has picked up his 4th foul.
Kentucky fouls on the 24, Jamal Mashburn. That's his 4th personal foul. Christian Leitner at the line.
97-98. There is Christian Leitner's mother.
She's as cool as her son.
.25 for Leitner, tie ball game. Sean Woods takes Hurley. Comes up short. Leitner rebound.
I think Woods had in the back of his mind to hit Mashburn out in three-point territory, changed his mind in midair, never really got under the shot. You got to make crisp decisions in this type of game.
On a play for Leitner, top of the post. Top of the key, rather. Timeout, Duke. 54.5 seconds remaining. We're tied at 98. And the sophomore Jamal Mashburn.
You know, it's hard to really detect what Duke is going to do because they have so many weapons, but they got to really take a little time off the clock unless you can get Leitner down on the post one-on-one.
12 seconds on the shot clock. Dale Brown goes for the steal, doesn't get it. Duke ball, 5 seconds to shoot.
Kentucky has had a habit of fouling with a few seconds left on the clock, bailing the Duke offensive player out now.
Grant Hill inbounds. Leitner. Oh, my goodness! How did he get the shot off? Leitner for 2. Mashburn. Fouled. He'll shoot 1 to break the tie. Patino wants a timeout. Kentucky by 1. 19.6 seconds left in overtime. Grant Hill will inbound. Feldhaus guards it. They find Hurley. Now they find Leitner. And he is fouled by Mashburn. Christian Leitner has made his last 17 free throws in a row, including 8 tonight. Duke by 1. Timeout, Kentucky. Richie Farmer will inbound it, the pride of Clay County. Darren Feldhouse and John Pelfrey are in. Sean Woods and Dale Brown, a JC transfer. 7.8 seconds remaining. Woods. Yes!
Man.
How did he find the courage to take that kind of shot?
You know, it went in, okay? But that was a terrible shot. And by terrible, I mean here he is working against a 6'11" guy. Not your highest of percentage shots. But as I mentioned, it goes in. What can you say?
Watch Jamal Mashburn. And I think back to Rick Pitino at the press conference yesterday talking about Sean Woods. Watch the Duke bench react. He said of Sean Woods, he became a leader on this team this year when he realized he wasn't a scorer.
Well, fortunate for Rick Pitino, a little amnesia for Sean Woods.
2.1 seconds left. No team has repeated as NCAA champions since UCLA did it in 1973. Will the dream die here for Duke?
And you know, John Pelfrey was calling for that ball when Woods had it and started his penetration. Woods had his mind made up. He was going to make it or miss it. The game was put in his hands.
Rick Pitino said of his 4 seniors when asked why they stuck around with the school going on probation, nobody else wanted them. They had no place else to go. Pelfrey, Feldhouse, and Farmer grew up in Kentucky. Sean Woods in Indianapolis.
You know, one of the things I've seen Duke do in the past in situations like this is try for the quick pass to half court and call a quick timeout so they can get in better shooting range.
There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yeah!